Yeah, so my name is Matt with BleepinJeep. I run and operate the YouTube channel. BleepinJeep since 2010. I originally started just trying to help out people. Back then, there were flip phones, if you guys remember the days of flip phones, and so the content was really terrible back then. I started as a wedding photographer, actually, so I always had a Jeep hobby, but I had the equipment.
So the reason that I invited Matt, and I actually have to walk outside to grab a prop, but Matt might have a prop. So I invited Matt to the show tonight. Matt has designed and developed this winch rope, which doesn't require additional hardware at the end. It doesn't require a hook or any of the other aftermarket add-ons that you add to a winch line. It actually has a proprietary built-in soft shackle that he designed, and he's worked with a company who I know in the continental U.S., which is up in Washington, who actually does the manufacturing for him. So it's 100% made in the USA replacement winch rope with a very special kind of attachment at the end of it. So it makes it a little more open for normal use. And Matt had asked this weekend if there was a way to get some more eyes on it. And one, it's a U.S. made and manufactured product, which we all love. Two, it's Matt from BleepinJeep, and he came up with something really cool. So I wanted him to be able to come on the show and explain to everybody what he's come up with. And then everybody gets to talk to him about BleepinJeep, because we all know BleepinJeep and all the amazing things he does. I mean, even myself, who, I'm kind of a Jeep nerd that some of you guys know, but I watch BleepinJeep videos. I watch a lot of his old videos all the time. Like when I was working on my XJ, or when I'm working on something else, and it's a mechanics related question, because everybody knows I'm like a hardcore fab guy. When it's a mechanics related thing and it's transfer case or transmission related, I always search BleepinJeep videos first. So it was really cool to be able to invite him on the show and let everybody talk to him. But the biggest forecast of it was this winch rope that he came up with, because it's a really unique design and it's really cool. And that's why he's here. So Matt, take it away. Tell us about your Freedom rope, which is pretty freaking cool in my opinion. And give us the whole rundown.
Matt, if you would, just let's assume that there's somebody that hasn't heard of you or seen your YouTube channel, your very successful YouTube channel. Would you mind giving us a synopsis of who you are and your channel, how long you've been doing it, and what you've been doing on it?
Yeah, so my name is Matt with BleepinJeep. I run and operate the YouTube channel. BleepinJeep since 2010. I originally started just trying to help out people. Back then, there were flip phones, if you guys remember the days of flip phones, and so the content was really terrible back then. I started as a wedding photographer, actually, so I always had a Jeep hobby, but I had the equipment, even back in 2010, to do better videos than what I was seeing on YouTube at the time. I didn't know a whole lot of Jeeps. I never was mechanically trained, but I would figure out how to do something, and then I would record that and try to upload it to YouTube to try to help everybody else that was into Jeeps figure out how to work on them. And my first video was a ball joint video, and people asked for more, and I kept going and going and going, and now I've got somewhere between 1,600 and 2,000 videos after
Wow.
after 15 years of doing it.
That's really nice. And you've always had like a little twist, something a little funny at the end, kind of like an enticement, so people would watch through the entire video.
Yeah, I've always tried to be a little funny. I have the demeanor of Mr. Rogers, so kind of boring and laid back, but I tried to do something funny to kind of keep people entertained over the years.
And you've had your wife involved in some of the videos as well, haven't you?
Yeah, lately she's been getting more involved. She actually retired just last month, and from her full-time job, which was a nurse, and so she's full-time now at BleepinJeep, and she is lovingly called the lunch lady. She provides us lunch every day.
That's great. Well, Matt, certainly appreciate you being here on the Jeep Talk Show. It's funny you talk about 2010. That's actually when we got started as well here on the Jeep Talk Show. It was xjtalk show way back then, but we do the Jeep Talk Show now. So first off, let me do the thing I do all the time with the Zoom people. Hello, Zoom people.
Hello,
Good
hello.
evening.
Hey,
Hello,
Hello,
Tony.
Tony. Hello.
hey.
All right. Well, it sounds like Matt. I was going to ask Matt if he didn't mind being asked questions and had discussions and stuff about BleepinJeep or really anything you guys want to talk about or he wants to talk about. But it sounds like he's up for it. So you guys take it away. Ask Matt what you'd like to ask him and try to be respectful. And I mean, I know I'm talking to the wrong crowd, but try to be respectful.
So I'll jump in. I got 2 points. For number one, I'm with you on the Dr. Peppers. I got them pretty much everywhere. But I've actually really been looking at that winch line. It's not a recent launch, right? You've had it out with a couple different iterations. I think I've been seeing videos going back at least a year or whatever on that or whatever. But it's good for like any winch, right? Because I've got a Smittybilt winch on there that I just run in the factory Smittybilt line or whatever. It's not just like a Warren or just something like that, right? It's kind of universal.
Yeah, it's universal. We started out with a basically set up for a 10,000-pound winch, and then people were wanting more from the Harbor Freight Apex winches. They're running 12,000-pound winches. So we stepped it up from a 3/8 to a 7/16 now. And we also have an ATV version for side-by-sides and ATVs, a 1/4-inch line, 50-foot, and the 3/8 and 90-foot, and the 7/16 and 90-foot, and 120-foot for the 8 to 74 winches. But the other end, the distal end, has a loop on it actually, and you can install that on the winches that have a little screw and the washer, or it also works on the Xeon winches where you shove it through the drum itself and then attach it with that little keeper.
Okay. And then I guess the last one is, how far of a walk was it out to the confluence when you did the Elephant Hill? So in the video you showed parking the Jeeps and then walking out there. How far of a hike was that? Just
I'd say
curious.
it's about a half mile to 3/4 of a mile. It wasn't too bad, but it happened to be, I think it was 107 degrees that day, so that's why we might have been extra sweaty. He's
Just
talking
one
about,
curious.
for the people that don't know, that's the Elephant Hill Trail in close to Moab, but it's a beautiful area, and there's a confluence of two rivers, and they're different colors. So when they come together, you can see the actual green and the brown of the two rivers coming together, which was really fascinating.
All right, I got a question. Why did you decide to make a winch line? What brought you to that?
So there were so many times there that we do a lot of fan rides and stuff, and even this past weekend we dealt with this a lot. But you're out there and somebody gets stuck and they need to winch, and so you go to pull out whatever they've got. Sometimes it's a hook, sometimes it's like the Factor 55 thimble or some other thimble. And a lot of those pieces require extra hardware, whether it be an accessory bag or a tree saver or a soft shackle or a hard shackle and a tree saver, depending on which you're using. And about 90% of the time, either the people had that in the back of their Jeep and maybe their Jeep was backed up against a tree and we couldn't actually open the Jeep to get it.
Right.
Or the Jeep was sitting vertical and you couldn't open the back hatch because, everything would fall out, or it was up against the dirt. Either that or they just completely didn't have it. There was a few times where we had, that implement on the front. I don't want to mention the name, but it requires accessories, and you have to have the accessories, like 100% have to have accessories to use it. And they didn't have them. And so for years and years, I was thinking there has to be a better way. And I had so many thoughts running through my brain, and passed this back and forth to friends, and we thought about it over the years, and we came up with some really complicated, convoluted options. And then one night, it just hit me how to make this work, how to make a winch line that didn't need any accessories whatsoever. And I sat there and watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to weave rope and how to splice rope. And I came up with a design that actually worked. We went through one iteration and we released it to the public. The first prototype, I showed it to the public, and they decided that they wanted, I'll show you here. We call this the Freedom Loop right here. Can you guys see that?
Mhm.
So in the first iteration, the Freedom Loop was attached to the winch line. People didn't like that because they wanted to be able to replace the Freedom Loop if it got destroyed. So
Right.
in version 2, we actually came up with the Freedom Loop that is detachable. So now it is replaceable.
Well, cool. N- And I'm trying to remember the name of the plate that on the front that the winch line goes through the
Fairlead or the Haas?
Fairly.
The
the
fair lead.
fair lead yeah, if I remember, because I think I've seen you guys as rope on there before, and isn't there like a special fair lead that you can get that's got like two balls on the outside of it so you can hook that to it? Or
The Freedom Winch Line does not require a special fair lead at all. You can use any Hall's fair lead. Just make sure it's not the metal rope type fair lead.
okay, one with the rollers and stuff on it,
Correct.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
they do make a roller fairly for synthetic ropes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So what's the advantage to having
Yeah.
that, Greg?
So I only use roller fair leads, even though I use synthetic winch line. You just want to, if you're using a traditional roller fair lead, you want it to be brand new, and you want to make sure that the edges of the roller are not abrasive. But there is a company out of Colorado. It's actually the guys who invented the pole pail and the Premier Power Welder. They make a proprietary Hawes fair lead that has built-in rollers specific for winch line. But the advantage to using a roller versus a traditional Hawes is when you're pulling the winch line and it gets tight, if it's not in a perfectly straight line, it actually abrades the Hawes, right? So even if you get a really fancy Factor 55, which is made with the right aluminum and is very high quality, if the winch line runs through the mud first and it picks up dirt and debris, when it drags it across that aluminum with 10 or 15,000 pounds of force, it can abrade that, and then that can then start cutting your winch line. And that's why I use Hawes, or I always use roller fair leads. But 100%, everybody can use a Hawes. It's very rare that you're going to damage your winch line or your Hawes. I just take the extra step. That's why I use a roller. But there are a couple rollers that are specifically designed for synthetic. I don't use those. I use just a traditional roller. I just make sure, because I have some fancy tools, I make sure that I take the rollers off, and I always bevel the edge so that it cannot pinch the winch line if it gets in that corner.
Yeah, see, my concern with the rollers is in Chicago, the salt and what it does to them.
Yeah. Well, rollers are very inexpensive to replace. Winch lines snapping are not. But like Matt said, he did a ton of research and development. In fact, I got to help him a little bit in the very early days of that by putting him in touch with the U.S. manufacturer, which is another really big part. It's a Freedom Winch Line, but it is made in the USA. It's not made overseas. And you pay for it, right? You have to pay a little bit more for a U.S. product, but you're also guaranteed to get a very high-end product because it's not some 12-year-old kid in China weaving it together. It's actually a couple guys in Washington who are hand weaving these things together. They're very well made.
So you may have to pay a little bit more, but I think you get a lot more with U.S. made, and we always support the U.S. made stuff here on the show.
Yeah,
Not only
100%.
that-
You get what you pay for.
Oh, I
Not
agree.
only that, but you don't have to have all of the accessories that you would typically have. I mean, I do still carry my accessory bag, but it's not all the pieces aren't necessary to pull out 100% of the time. So you get a lot of accessories with the Freedom Winch Line. And if you guys have never seen how this is used, can I show you? Can I show you that real quick?
Absolutely.
So this is the Freedom Winch Line, and it comes with this. We call that the Freedom Loop. You can either take this off or leave it on the end of the winch line. And if you take that off, like let's say you're not going to be winching for a while, you're just driving around for the next month on the street, you can take this off and hook it onto your shifter. And then this piece will sit right in your hawse fairly nice and tight. It won't pull through, so you can just suck that in really tight. And then when you know you're going to be winching, you put this on. You can use it as a handle, so it's real quick to grab it and just run out. If you want to hook on something real small, let's say you got a metal shackle or you got a hole you want to go through, a tube, a bumper, all you can do is you hook that around and you're ready to winch. If you want to go around something bigger, like a small tree or a larger bumper, anything really, we have these loops down the end of the line. There's 3 openings. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 all the way at 8 feet. So you can go around a pretty large tree, a very giant tree, but you just find that loop and you hook it right back to itself around a tree or around a bumper, anything that you can find to hook onto. And what's great about this is, like I mentioned earlier, everything, all of that just sucks right up into the winch so that you don't have to go searching for your accessory bag. It's very fast, very quick, and when somebody needs to be winched quickly, which happens a lot when you're riding with BleepinJeep, it's the way to go.
So let me ask you, has there been any death threats from other manufacturers that sell a lot of additional stuff for their equipment? Because this is a brilliant idea. You got everything you need right there where you need it.
I have had when it first came out, there was some words said.
I'm sure.
I mentioned in my first video where I came out, I kind of poked fun at what I called the pacifier, and they did not like that, and they sent me some nasty text messages.
Watch that one again.
That's really cool. No, that's a really good idea. I especially like the idea with the loops where you don't have to have a tree saver. You can just put it through the loop and match it to whatever it is you need to go around.
That cable looks quite a bit bigger than the cable that's on my winch currently. That looks like pretty thick cable. What is the price point on it, if I'm allowed to ask that?
You're not. Go
all
away.
of the money. All
Everything.
of the money.
Just take where you take my money. That's what you got to do. Take it. Just take it.
Well, think about the accessories you're not going to have to buy with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
Right.
I understand all that, but
No, I don't mind. The 7/16 is the one that you're looking at here. That's $325. The 3/8 is $300, and the 1/4 inch for side by sides is $200.
And mind you, just so you know, so these have data tags on them. I'm holding one of his Freedom lines right here. This has a data tag on it, which clearly says, Freedom Winch Line. It's got the patent number because this is patented. It tells you your part number. It's a HMPE fiber. Description: 7/16 diameter by 90 foot. MTS 18,000 pounds. So if you're putting this on a 9,000 pound winch, right? That's pretty egregious. And then in very fine print, which I would need glasses for, and I don't know where I set my glasses.
Look on your bill. Look on the bill of your hat.
Your hat.
Oh, there we go. So in very fine letters, do not exceed rated capacities, spliced in the USA, rated capacities in pounds, right? So it actually has the full data tag and gives you all the information. And I love that, because if you get you buy, and I'm not going to slander anybody because I have friends at most companies, but if you buy a winch, I'll just say the Harbor Freight one because I don't know anybody there, but you go buy a Harbor Freight winch, it doesn't have this information because the winch line doesn't come from here. So they don't have to put any of that information on it. Where the company that puts this together for Matt, it's in the U.S. These guys are made here, and they've been doing it for a really long time, and that's how I knew them. I've known them since, I don't know, I think 2013 when I first met the guys, and they do such a phenomenal job. Like they originally, and it's information you can find out there, so I'm not afraid to say it, but they originally made all the Bubba ropes, right? They made Bubba ropes for Bubba Rope until Bubba Rope started making them overseas. They made master pole winch line. All of the master pole winch lines were made in the USA until they also switched to overseas. So to get a US option through Matt is an amazing deal, right? And then with his patented system, it makes it really convenient. And just like he says, like my recovery bag has, and I'd never get rid of all of it because I have a lot of snatch blocks and other things, but you don't need to carry as many D-rings. You don't need to carry as many soft shackles. You don't need to carry, all these things. Like I still have my splice kit and a couple other things, but this opens up a whole new realm of opportunities. And it's Matt from BleepinJeep who came up with it. And every Jeeper in the country pretty much knows him, but it's made in the USA. And that's one of the coolest things about it.
Yeah. So the one thing I'll say is it's good to have those add-ons that you carry with you, Greg, because you're probably going to run across somebody that needs them. You won't need them since you've got the BleepinJeep rope, but you may need it for other folks.
So, Matt, which one's your best selling right now? Which one's the best selling one right now that you're seeing?
Definitely the 7/16 since we came out with that, because most people now are buying the 12,000 pound Harbor Freight Apex. And so you want a 1.5 safety factor. If you have a 10,000 pound winch, you want a 15,000 pound rope. So the 12,000 pound winch, which is the Apex, you'll need an 18,000 pound rope, which is what the 7/16 is rated.
Okay. And Matt, you mentioned the Apex Harbor Freight, and everybody has different opinions about Harbor Freight and what products they'd use where. But I mean, it's a popular winch. I mean, I see Matt's off-road recovery. Seems like he has those on his rigs. I mean, can you share any experience? I mean, I know it's not made in the USA, but there's the argument, when was the last worn winch made in the USA? Yada yada yada. But
they're assembled.
Yeah. But any opinion, in all seriousness, on the Harbor Freight winch that, as you mentioned, is so popular, and it looks kind of like one of the Warrens. I mean, I often think about it. So, any opinion on that, good, bad, indifferent, or just don't care to say?
Rumor has it that the Warren winches are made in the same factory.
Okay.
Take that as you will.
So, and
fair enough. Well said.
I can take a little bit of that too, just for fun, because I know a lot of winch manufacturers. Super Winch, I was great friends with them until they were bought out by the big conglomerate. But Super Winch makes a great winch. Warren makes a fabulous winch. They really are high quality. And yes, a lot of the components may or may not be made overseas, and a lot of the assembly may or may not happen here. But a lot of Jeepers and a lot of people in our world are on a budget, and sometimes they can't see spending well over $1,000 for a winch. I'm kind of a recluse. I only put the highest quality stuff on, so I typically run a Warren or a Super Winch, or a Nova winch, which Tony Mitten on here has one that one of these days he'll do a video for, and I got to bust his chops. But
he's got a brand new Gladiator. It's about time.
Nova winch
this weekend.
Yeah, so Nova Winch, all the guys behind Nova Winch used to be the guys behind Super Winch before the corporate conglomerate bought it out, and now they work at Nova Winch, and because they had a lot of the patents. But there's a lot of different winches out there. They're all good. The Harbor Freight ones, hey, if it works, it works. If it works for you, 100% use it. But for a safety factor, I recommend stepping up, the accessories that go with that winch. I wouldn't really trust a winch line that doesn't have a data sheet, that doesn't have the information on it. Factor 55 does the same stuff. When you buy their stuff, it has a data sheet. They do a lot of testing, and they make some good stuff. But this winch line, it's a completely different animal, and it's not what we're used to. And the cool part with that is, innovation takes time, and sometimes people hate innovation. They don't like it when somebody comes up with a different mousetrap. We don't know if this is a better mousetrap or not, but I respect Matt, and I really respect the design, and I respect the guys who throw it together. So it's, I'm going to test it. I'm going to run it through its paces, and then I'm going to send it off to Liam Lafferty so that he can test it and run it through its paces. and we're even going to try and put it in Rick's hands, Rick Payway, and we'll post about it on Unofficial Use Only, on Jeep Sheep TV, and on Go on Jeepin'. But the more eyes we can get on this for Matt, and the more people we can get to use it, we already know it's quality. We know it's made in the right place. It's just getting it in front of more people so that people can test out that different mousetrap, right? America is all about innovation, and I don't know, I haven't physically used this line yet. I used one that he sent me, which was one of the very first prototypes, and I loved it. But once I run it through its paces, right, I'll give my personal opinion, and I'd love it if some of you guys tested them out and gave your personal opinion too, because I think just on the merit, just on holding it and feeling it and playing with it and testing all the different knots and how it works, I'm pretty excited about it. So that's why I wanted Matt to come on.
It sounds like a great idea. I love the idea where you don't have to have all that boatload of accessories to use it.
One of the features that you might not realize until you do use it, we actually figured this out a while back, but yesterday we were winching a lot, and most of the time it's not me winching, we're having to winch other people, and somebody had one of those 10-pound boat anchors at the end of their winch, but we're having to use it because that's what they've got. But where we wheel, there's the Jeep is down like 10 feet underground basically, and the tree that you need to winch to is 10 feet above the ground, and so you have somebody climb up there, and then you got to throw them this thing.
Oh, no.
The guys were literally, swinging this 10-foot anchor around and then throwing it up to them. And then the guy's got to catch it, or you got to hook it around a tree or something. And imagine that hitting you in the head. With this, it weighs nothing. It doesn't matter if it hits you in the head. It's very safe.
So 2 questions. Asking for a friend. Does it float?
It does float. It does float.
There you go, Rick. Right there.
I see how you do. Sorry,
I still have number 2. Greg, if you want to show us how this winch line works, we're going to Drummond Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah. I know. Everybody keeps telling me. Roger's telling me. Everybody's telling me. I don't even know what I'm doing yet on Columbus weekend because
You're going to Drummond.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know because I'm doing the 2 brutes. In fact, the body for the second one is here on the hoist. But the first brute, I'm still waiting. I have to take it now to Kalamazoo to a different tuner because the first tuner couldn't get the tune to take. He was having huge problems with HP tuners. So I have to take it somewhere else and get it tuned. And the second that thing's tuned, I have to drive it all the way to Idaho and then pick up a late 70s Dodge van that has a Quigley conversion and drive it all the way back here because it's going to be one of the SEMA vehicles in the Tyree Lights booth. And because I'm going to Idaho, I can pick it up and drive it back. And then I'll do a couple things to it, and then Tyree can pick it up. And the first brute, which you guys have all seen, that is going to be in the Tyree winch or the Tyree light booth as well at SEMA. So SEMA is way more important than going to Drummond in my world. As much as I would absolutely love to, my time frame is way up in the air for from now until November.
SEMA's not very far away, especially when you're building stuff.
Right. And have to go across the country and drive back a vehicle that hasn't been driven any length of time for a long time. So luckily it's got a 360 and a 727 torque flight. So it's a relatively simple mechanical contraption. So hopefully it makes the drive across the country, but even that should be really fun. So I don't know if I can make Drummond.
Let me ask you a quick question, Matt. Now, I believe that it's already been indicated that you're selling these things. Where can people find them? Where can people buy them?
You can only buy them at BleepinJeep.com. If you search for Freedom Winch Line, you might find some nefarious regular winch lines. They're not even shaped like mine. They're just regular winch lines that they're selling called that, but you can only find the real deal at BleepinJeep.com.
All right, BleepinJeep.com. Go over there and have a look. And are they all 90 feet, or are some longer or some shorter? I mean, I guess it really depends on the winch you're putting it on.
Yeah, we've got 50 feet, 90 feet, and 120 feet. And interesting story. The reason that I know that it floats is we had the fire department call and say, "Hey, we have search and rescue vehicles that use winch lines and ropes for recoveries. Does it float?" And I said, "I have no idea. Let me go check." So I filled up the bathtub
I was
with
just going
water.
to say, you went to the bathtub, didn't you?
I did. So I'm able to report that they do float. So I didn't even think about that, but it would float in a mud if you needed a mud recovery or water recovery.
All right. Anybody got any questions here? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rick.
I got a couple quick questions. One, and I know it does, but I'm asking anyway. I had to use a snatch block this weekend to pull another gladiator out of a ditch. Seems like
Don't be jealous.
I pull lots of gladiators out of ditches. Anyway,
Yeah, it's old news.
so no problem using a snatch block. And then the second question is, you said you was referring to wrapping it around a tree. So, a lot of people get all kind of squirrely if you don't use a tree saver, but you're indicating that this is okay to wrap around a tree.
All right, so let me answer the first question first. Yes, so snatch blocks open. How come I can't see myself? Hello.
And
Snatch
the
snatch blocks
Okay, go
snatch
ahead.
blocks open like this, right? So a lot of people get confused thinking that this won't go through the snatch block. Well, you don't actually put this through the snatch block. Snatch block opens like this, and you put the middle of the line through the snatch block and then close it. So yes, it does work with the snatch block. Number two, I always recommend using a tree saver, especially if you're out west and the trees are important. Here, if you chop down one tree, 18 more will grow in its place. So it's not quite as important, but I always recommend that you use a tree saver. But if you're in a hurry, if somebody's in a rollover situation, if somebody's hurt, you don't need a tree saver. You can go right around the tree to here. What is the advantage though? Most people don't use tree savers. And I found this out from years and years of wheeling. What they'll do is they'll go around the tree, put the hook right here, and then whenever you start winching, that thing will cinch like this.
Yep.
It's the sawing motion that kills the tree. That sawing motion, as this thing's sliding around the tree, takes all the bark off. But with the Freedom Winch Line, now all you're doing is pulling against the back of the tree. So only about 6 inches of the back of the tree is getting any tension on it. Plus, this winch line is double sized right here because the way that this works, it goes up, the line goes up to the knot, gets knotted, and then comes back down. So this is a very, very thick line. That's like 1.5 inch line right there. So it's a lot safer on a tree than, say, a little 3/8 winch line would be.
Okay, and I misspoke. I said snatch block, but actually I'm talking about the little donut ring.
Yes, same thing with the donut ring. The knot doesn't go through the donut ring. The knot goes around the donut ring.
Right. Cool beans. And what is like when people buy winches, and what's the standard length on their winch? You said there's 50 and I think 90 and
120.
120.
Yeah.
120. So what's the standard length that people have on their winches when they buy them?
Typically for us, it's going to be 90 feet. Ours is typically you would get about 100 foot with the typical winch line. Ours is 90 feet because, like I said, that last 12 feet is doubled up. So it makes it a little bit thicker. So when you spool up our 90-foot winch line, it's about the same thickness as a 100-foot winch line. And the reason that you can't go, 500 feet is because it'll get bound up in the drum. Eventually that drum, it can't handle any more winch line.
So I just want to clarify, if you guys are interested in getting this Freedom Line, is that what it's called, Matt? Freedom Line?
Right now it's called the Freedom Winch Line, but
Freedom Winch Line.
We're probably going to have to change our name because somebody is threatening to sue us, saying that they coined the term freedom. So instead of going through litigation,
is it Trump? You can tell us. We don't mind.
I think it was Thomas Washington. I think it was Thomas Jefferson, wasn't it?
I won't mention who it is. They never even trademarked it. I did. I do have the trademark for Freedom Winch Line, but they're saying that they used it a couple years before I did. Instead of spending, $60 grand going to court, I think I'm just going to change it to Bleepin Winch Line. So in the future, it may be called.
Oh, that's perfect. Get the bleeping winch line out here. Yeah, it's perfect. I like that. That's good.
I like that better too.
So just to go back on this, so the soon to be renamed Freedom Winch Line, if you're interested in this and you're going to put it on your winch, the 90 foot is probably what you want to go on there. That way it'll fit on the drum of the winch. And yeah, so that just makes it really easier. I don't think a 50 is a good idea because you know it's going to be too short for situations. But if you know that's all you need, that you can go that way. And the 120, if what I'm hearing is right, you may or may not be able to spool the whole thing up on your winch. Am I saying that right, Matt?
The 50's for a UTV because they're smaller.
Yeah. The 50 foot is for a UTV or side by side. They have smaller winches that hold smaller line and shorter distances. The 120 foot is for the 8274, which can hold up to 150 foot of line. And then the typically most people will get the 90 foot. But we do have, for those special circumstances where somebody just bought a winch and they don't want to buy a whole new winch line, we have a 12 foot line which you can splice into your current line. You just cut it.
So you get the benefit of it without the entire winch line.
Correct.
I assume you also have the option of like just an extension, right? Like for some people that might have like 100 foot line already and you just want an extension.
That's what he just said.
No, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about adding it on to make it longer, but not spooling it up. Isn't that what you're saying, Roger?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like if I had my winch line break, I would turn it into an extension. And then yes, it's a long pole unless you start using shackles. Your long pole can get rather short when you start using 2, 3, 4 shackles.
So you're asking if we make a Freedom Winch Line extension and not a
yeah, instead of having actually on the drum, just be an extension.
You could make that on your own, but if you can see this is the distal end, and it only wraps around about a foot into itself. If you were going to use that as an extension, I would unloop that and then wrap it 2 feet into itself, and you can make your own extension.
There you go.
How long is the red part?
So the red part is 10 feet. Okay. So this tells you whenever you're getting close to the end of your line, when that red piece starts coming out, make sure you stop.
Right. That's good. That's one of the things I do like about the cheap winch line that I currently have on, that was made by the little dexterous China kid.
He switches between the Chinese finger puzzles and the winch line when he's braiding things. So.
Hey, Matt, I've got a product idea, what we like to call $1 million Jeep Talk Show idea. You mentioned folks, and I've been in situations trying to help folks where they have all the recovery bag, everything in the nice little labeled bag or in the rack in the back of a Wrangler where it's underwater, you can't get it open. What can you do to incorporate the winch controller that's usually in said bag when you need to pull winch? You've obviously solved
you need to have controls on the winch line. That's a great idea. Just build them straight into the winch line. Everything's right there at your fingertips.
LED lighting for nighttime too.
Exactly.
So what I recommend is that people keep their winch controller in the center console.
Agree, but they don't.
If you have a tree saver and a soft shackle right in between your seat and the door, that's where I like to keep mine. And if we could teach everybody to do that instead of keeping it in a bag in the back, that would be awesome.
Well, you can use a short piece of the Freedom Winch Line and use it, put a little cat o' nine tails on it, and you can teach people when they don't do it right. And then, you can actually, that would be a great seller too, I'm sure, for the couples.
One of the biggest mistakes that some company, won't mention names, ever did was make the winch controller Bluetooth with no manual options whatsoever. And we dealt with this yesterday. In fact, couldn't get the Bluetooth connected. There's not even a way to free spool the winch on some of these things.
Wow.
And then people are like, "Oh, I can do it on my phone," and then they're over here playing with the phones while they're hanging upside down. It's like, oh my gosh, guys, get it together.
Did they put their Starbucks down first?
They had to pick up all the ducks.
Yeah.
So, what is the video series you're doing now with like the XJ that has the crazy trailer that mounts the top? That's like another half of an XJ.
The silly goose.
Yeah, so I've been watching that one, but I've also been watching a lot of the other builds for a long time. The forward control, which is where I think Rick got the idea for using the blood pressure cuff as an activator for his lockers and the TJ. We talked about that a long time ago. So out of all those like crazy builds, like which one's been like the most fun? Was it one of the ones that were on the channel, or was it something you helped with, or like what's been the most fun?
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head with the FC there. That one was very fun because my wife got to go with me and enjoy kind of our first backcountry expedition in it. But it was heartbreaking at the same time because we built that for a giveaway. And then when the time came, we actually had to give it away. And I put a lot of heart and soul and love and blood and sweat and tears into that thing.
Didn't that end up in Illinois?
Yes.
We saw it. Dan and I saw it actually at one of the off-road parks up here. It was really, really well done.
Thank you.
I mean, I know Greg makes a living by doing it, but I would have a hard time with all the work and effort he puts into these things, and they just go away, and just beautiful, beautiful work. So I understand that. I get really attached to my vehicles, especially when I put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah. We gave away like 3 years ago. We gave away 5 Jeeps in 1 year, but it was a lot of cheap Jeeps. I can give away cheap Jeeps, but I don't think I'll ever build something for a year and a half and then give it away like that again. I just got too attached.
All right, so we're talking to Matt, the creator and star of BleepinJeep on YouTube, BleepinJeep.com. Do you guys have any questions or comments you'd like to make with Matt? I mean, it can be about the Freedom Winch Line or pretty much anything that this is a great opportunity to talk to Matt. If you haven't been out and talked to him in person, you've just been watching his YouTubes for years, get in here. This is your opportunity.
I'm curious how you got the idea for the toolbox in the back of the Scorpion crawler.
So in my original Jeep, I had the original Jeep before I even started the channel. So back in 2001, I had this tray that I had built. So in the Cherokee, right, where the window stopped, I had built this tray. Tire goes underneath, and slide out tray comes from that. And I wanted a way to keep my tools organized, and so I cut out foam. At that time, it was just a pool foam. But now they have what's called Kaizen foam, which is even nicer because it's different colored. When you remove a tool, it kind of changes the color of the foam. And that's where I got the idea. And what's great about the foam is that when one tool is missing, you know that it's missing. You don't have to like go through your tool bag and lay everything out. If a tool is missing, it's very obvious.
I used to do that years ago when I had worked with other people, and they were always losing tools. I took carpet padding and drew around all my tools, so if one wasn't there, I went and found it before I left that job site.
The military does that to all the toolboxes that work out on the jets because it's considered FOD.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Get a nice 10 millimeter sucked through the engine's not a good thing.
I don't think we have any 10 millimeters on the jets.
What? Play along with me.
Okay.
So if you tear the tag off of that thing, do you get in trouble?
Oh no, the feds will come after you. Yes.
Off the Freedom Winch Line?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a mattress.
It's like your mattress tag, but I would definitely recommend removing it because it does get in the way. But we put it up top here just so that people will be able to see it before they start using it.
But it's not a federal offense to remove it, is what you're saying.
Not
it's
yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So Matt, are you doing autographed winch line? So if somebody asks and they slip you a 5, will you put the BleepinJeep signature on there for them?
There's not a whole lot of places to autograph it other than the tag.
On the tag, of course, and they won't rip it off.
I definitely had a lot of people have hats signed and T-shirts and
that's neat.
Stickers.
Isn't it neat when people ask you to do stuff like that? I mean, you just start this thing because it's fun for you, and then you put a lot of time and effort into it, and then you have all these people. How many? I think Henderson was telling me you got like 300,000 subscribers on the YouTube. Is that where you at?
600,000.
Oh, damn it, Greg.
So you have to pull a Greg out, and if you can't sign the winch line, then just sign the box and ship it out.
On the box.
On the box. Yeah.
Earlier, Tony, when I told you that it was a secret and we wanted to surprise people with Matt, I told you he had 600,000. So don't go twisting my words.
So how?
We're going to be hearing him whine about this for the next 6 months.
So,
oh yeah, 100%.
So you know about advertising, Greg. You can't keep a great news like that away from people. We got 21 people in here tonight, and that's because they either found out about Matt being here, or some people started sharing information. So yeah, I know what I'm doing.
There you go. I got to say, hey Matt, my 80-year-old parents started watching you, and then for my birthday, I got all your swag.
Oh, that's cool.
Never had a Jeep ever.
You're even wearing it. That's awesome. Looking good out there. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch, and a great innovation on that Freedom Winch Line. They were telling me, they were like, "Yeah, this guy's got a really cool winch line," and I was like, "What could be cool about a winch line? That is the bomb."
Now, if we could just spread the word, I think it has the potential to, save a life one day, realistically.
Absolutely.
If we could just spread the word, I think Greg hit the nail on the head that people don't like change, especially in a big multi-million-dollar industry. But if we can get enough of them out there and teach people, that they do work and that's not just a silly idea, then it could take off one day.
Well, one thing that I really impressed with is how quickly deployable it can be, right? Because sometimes time is money.
Exactly. Well, and not just money, but it could be life, a rollover situation, the whole thing.
When you get stuck with guys who take 20 minutes to get their shit together to get you out of a hole.
Yeah.
I was looking at ground level. I wasn't looking below my feet for where the blue Jeep was.
Uh-huh.
Wheeling as long as I have, we've had a lot of people in pinned situations where their arm is trapped, their hand, their leg is trapped, and time is very valuable in those situations.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. I didn't know about it until tonight, but I immediately could see the benefit in this simply just from saving money. I mean, this thing actually saves you money buying not having to buy the accessories just to use the winch line.
Hold the presses. Tony is actually impressed with the synthetic rope.
Oh, it definitely would be better if it was steel cable, and hands down.
So you get your fingers stabbed.
Exactly.
Well, that's accessories. You have to wear the leather gloves.
It's not super flashy like all the other bling on the front of Jeeps is at the Jeep Invasion, and that's kind of our issue. Is it's not flashy, but it's for the working man. It's for the guys that actually do winch and go out there and wheel and need to use that winch on a monthly basis at least.
All right,
So
Matt.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So Tony hasn't asked it yet, so I'll ask it for him. Does it come in red?
Oh yeah.
No, blue.
That's the Yankum rope stuff.
When we first made it, we actually made it in multicolors, and it was just so hard to keep track of inventory.
Oh, I thought you did it rainbow colored. I thought that's what you were saying.
No.
The beauty of it for Tony is it has a tree saver on it, or people call it different things, but it has a protective sleeve on the outside, which is black. It also has a red one that's 10 feet long on the inside. So for Tony,
the red one should be at the end of the part that you can see all the time, not where you can't see it, Greg.
Well, you can just
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is before you install it, you could actually switch them. And this would be your UV protector or tree saver, and this one would be your drum protector. So if you were inventive, you could actually switch them around just for your Jeep.
That's a great idea. Matt, I have a $1 million Jeep Talk Show idea for you.
Here we go.
Because I'm glad Steve mentioned the steel cable thing. Now, one of the things I like about steel cable is you don't have to worry about pointy sticks, rocks, and the sun degrading the cable. So I think you ought to come out with a line of special UV lotion that can actually have multiple uses, but you could use it to put on your winch line to protect it from that harmful UV radiation.
That's a good idea.
Wow, is this P. Diddy's new show?
I think it's called sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
It puts the lotion on.
They do have UV sprays that you could use if you're worried about that. I've not done the research on that, but our line does have the protective sheath at the end of it. So the last bit that's going to be rolled up into the drum is going to be UV protected.
So you actually don't have to have a cover. Well, I was going to say you don't actually have to have a winch cover. You spent $1,500 for a winch. You don't want to cover it with something. Damn it, you want it out there. I mean,
in Chicago, you definitely want to cover it, man, because that's all going to ruin it.
There's no sense in going to the mall to show off your new winch if you got a cover on it.
Yeah, like the XJ in the garage.
Oh,
maybe we should make a cover that's printed a winch on the cover.
Look, I have a Warren.
Yeah, that's right. You can upgrade your Smittybilt to a Warren just by putting a cover on it.
Rubicon stickers on a Sport.
That's your $1 million idea. So instead of Warren, it'll say warm.
There you go.
All right, Matt. So if you can share with us, what else you got planned? I'm sure you're working on something else, and I'm sure you don't want to talk about it, but you can trust us. We won't tell anybody. Greg knows I'm locked lips on sharing information.
And this is a live show. You're not locked lips.
No, it's not live. We're recording it, but it'll be out. It'll be out tomorrow.
Yeah. So we do have a couple of ideas. We're going to go back to the drawing board on the Silly Goose and put steering on it. One of my projects this winter, I'd like to do rear steer on the Holy Grail, the Jaguar that I built. And we bought a cheap TJ the other day. We're going to make a super cheap crawler out of that coming up in probably October, November. And then I'm looking for a Comanche. If you guys find a running, driving, four-wheel drive, automatic Comanche, I'm in the market for one. We're going to do some crazy project, but I can't tell you what that's going to be.
Comanches are so cool. I'd love to have one. They just need some space to put all these Jeeps.
Just have to build a bigger shop or a barn or something.
Oh, I need something that's not HOA governed and more room. So yeah, anybody that has room like Greg is very lucky.
I don't have room. I'm so packed full. It's not funny.
All right, so Matt's here with BleepinJeep. Who knows when he'll come back? So get your questions in here. Jump in, ask Matt a question.
Hey, I got a question for Matt. Seeing as how he mentioned the Comanche, does it have to be a Comanche, or can it be any two-door pickup truck Jeep?
I prefer it to be a Comanche because like a J10 or J20 is just going to be too big for what I want to do with it.
No, it's not a J20 or a J10. I'm gonna text you a picture, and you tell me if you like it, because it's something that I'm developing.
Okay, I'm down. But the trick is I have to have two of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's one up here with 34,000 miles on it.
What do you got?
There's a Comanche up here, 92 short bed with 34,000 miles.
Oh God, that's what I want. 92 short bed.
Here you go.
Probably like but it's in Chicago, so it's only half a Comanche.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's probably all rusted out.
14,000. They're asking for it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
92 was the last year.
I haven't sold enough winch lines yet to afford $14,000.
Got 34,000 miles on it. That's pretty impressive, actually.
They didn't make very many that year. It was like maybe 1,000. It wasn't very many.
That's clean, though. I like that.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
What does it say? No low balls. I know what I have here. Does it say that?
I think they do.
I think 14,000 is not too bad for the last year Comanche.
Four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive?
34,000 miles on it.
Yeah. What is it, 4 or 2?
It's 4x4.
Yeah, it said 4 before.
It's a 4.0.
That's the other thing that usually affects the price, but I don't want anything that doesn't have a 4.0 in it.
Yeah, most of them are 2.5s manuals, and I for what I need a 4.0 automatic.
Doesn't say if it's auto though. No, it is automatic. It is automatic.
Look at the pictures on your phone, Matt.
$14,000.
That's true.
You need one with like JB welded floor plates or something, right?
Well, for $14,000, it needs to be red.
Oh,
you might have to auto swap it. for that much money.
I'd have to take up a GoFundMe or something.
or you'll have to a 4-wheel drive swap it.
Matt, pull your phone out of your pocket and look at those pictures and tell me if you like it. Just don't share the video.
Oh,
Oh, hey, now, no secrets on the round table.
Greg's not wearing his kilt, so you should be safe.
Oh, Jesus.
Keep it secret. Keep it secret.
Yes,
We don't want to know what the video is.
I do like that, Greg, but I don't think I could afford that.
Well, I promise you that you could. I would make sure that it was in your price range if you built that on your show. So we're gonna do that in 2 versions. That was the prototype, and that's on a JK, but we're also going to do it as a JL. So it'll be a kit for both. There'll be 2 versions, and our public announcement is going to be Easter Jeep Safari. But if you wanted to do one on your show, 100%, I would make sure it was way more affordable for you.
Okay, I'm down, but I think you just told everybody what you were doing.
Well, I gave them a basic, but they can't see the pictures yet.
And now he won't tell me.
No, I can't tell Tony.
Is this one of those public announcements I'm going to find out about like 2 minutes before Easter Jeep Safari and then have to do a bunch of work for?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Liam, but he's not better.
Never.
But the other fun one for Matt, just so you know, is it's approximately a 16-hour installation. There is no welding or drilling or grinding required.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Liam, you only come on here when there's popular people on, or what?
Yeah, I don't like
hurting Greg's feelings.
Talk.
All right, well,
I've been here the whole time, just quietly cleaning.
So we know that the deal here is when Liam shows up, that means the show is wrapping up. So we'll say, all right, everyone. That's a wrap for this week's Jeep Talk Show Roundtable. A big thank you to all of our Zoom participants, and especially Matt from BleepinJeep, BleepinJeep.com. Search for BleepinJeep on YouTube. His channel has been there for a long time. He's been around as long as what this show has been around, but so much more popular than we are. So if you don't know about it already, go over there and check it out. It's a lot of fun. And wait till the end, because Matt always does something interesting or crazy or funny at the end. So a lot of good builds and stuff going on over there. And of course, a shout out to everyone watching us on YouTube. We really appreciate you watching us on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and give us a comment or 2. Remember, you can join us again next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time for more Jeep Talk, random questions, and always a few rabbit trails. Don't forget to visit xjtalk.com/contact to find out how you can be part of the conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
All right. Well, we're not going anywhere. We're going to hang.
Broadcasting since 2010.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.